Welcome to The Explainer. You know, some stories are so foundational, they basically shape entire civilizations. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, the story of the fall in Genesis chapter 3. It's a really short text, but it has sparked thousands of years of debate and influenced everything from our art to our laws. So what is it about this ancient story that gives it such lasting power? Let's get into it.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll just run through the story itself. Then, we're going to put the main characters, the serpent, the woman, and the man, under a microscope. After that, we'll look at the big choice they make and its immediate fallout before we analyze the really complex verdict God delivers. And finally, we'll wrestle with the biggest question of all. Is this story meant to be history or something else?
All right, first things first. Let's just do a quick recap of the actual events of the story.
So yeah, on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward, right? Temptation, transgression, punishment. But here's the thing. The real power of this story is hiding in the details. As you're about to see, every single one of these points has been the center of intense debate for centuries.
Okay, so now let's zoom in on the main players here. We've got the serpent, the woman, and the man. And believe me, their motivations are way more complicated than they first appear.
You know, this whole thing kicks off because of this one character, a clever, talking serpent. But what is it really? Is it just an animal? A demon in disguise? A symbol for something else? This might be the single biggest mystery in the whole story.
And right away, you see people fall into two totally different camps on this. On one side, you have thinkers like Carl Lawrence. His argument is basically, look, if you want to read this as a historical account, then it has to be a literal snake. If you start saying the snake is a symbol, then what's to stop you from saying the whole thing is symbolic? But on the other hand, many people see the serpent not as a creature, but as a powerful symbol.
And wow, once you open the door to symbolism, the interpretations just explode. Later Christian tradition, of course, connects the serpent directly to Satan, but modern psychology might see it as a metaphor for our own inner demons or unconscious urges. Some view it as representing the spirit of inquiry itself, that drive to question authority and find things out for ourselves. It might have even started out as a positive symbol of wisdom that just got a bad rap over time.
All right, let's talk about the woman, Eve. For literally centuries, she's been the one to blame for, well, everything. But if you actually look closely at the text and listen to how modern scholars are rereading it, a much more complex picture starts to emerge.
See, that whole Eve the villain narrative starts to fall apart pretty quick when you dig in. For one, the text says Adam was with her the entire time. He's standing right there, silently watching it all go down. Her desire for wisdom, maybe it wasn't malicious. Maybe it was just naive curiosity in a world that hadn't even experienced evil yet. And let's be honest, when they get caught, they both start pointing fingers. Adam immediately blames Eve, and Eve blames the serpent. It's a classic blame game.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it. The choice to eat the fruit and the price they paid. This is the moment everything changes.
This is the ultimate sales pitch, isn't it? It's so brilliant because it's not a straight-up lie. It's a half-truth. The serpent twists God's command, reframing it from a protection into a jealous restriction. The promise of becoming like gods, of knowing good and evil, that's an incredibly powerful temptation.
And you know what's wild? The serpent wasn't entirely wrong. Their eyes did open. But what they saw wasn't godlike power or divine glory. Instead, for the very first time, they saw their own vulnerability, their own nakedness. And this new knowledge brought a brand new feeling along with it: shame.
This really breaks down that immediate psychological spiral into three key stages. First, you have the awakening. But it's not an awakening to godhood. It's an awakening to guilt. This leads directly to the second stage, covering. They try to fix the problem themselves with these flimsy fig leaves. And finally, you get to the hiding. Their relationship with their creator is shattered, and now all they feel is fear.
So, how does God react to all this? Well, it's not just a simple case of you broke the rules, now you're punished. What we get is this incredibly layered response that includes judgment, a really mysterious prophecy, and a surprising moment of care.
Tucked away inside the curse that God places on the serpent is this one verse, Genesis 3:15. Theologians call it the protevangelium, which basically means the first gospel or first good news. In it, God declares there will be this ongoing conflict between the offspring of the serpent and the offspring of the woman, and this single verse has echoed through centuries of interpretation.
So that's the million-dollar question, right? Who or what is this seed? Is it a collective group?
Basically all good people fighting against evil for all time? Or, as many argue, does the original Hebrew point to a specific individual, a single descendant, a messianic figure, who will one day show up and deliver the final crushing blow to evil? The answer you choose has massive theological implications.
And then, right before kicking them out of the garden, God does something, well, kind of strange and wonderful. Remember their flimsy fig leaves? God replaces them with something much better, much more durable: coats of skin. But this isn't just about clothing. It's a deeply symbolic act.
This one simple act is just packed with meaning. You can peel it back like an onion. First, it's clearly an act of mercy. Even in judgment, God is providing for them. Second, for there to be skins, an animal had to die. This is seen by many as the first sacrifice, a hint of the idea of atonement. Third, it's a powerful symbol of our new mortality, these fragile bodies that we now live in. And finally, some traditions believe that before the fall, humans were clothed in garments of light, and these animal skins are a symbol of that lost glory.
Okay, so after digging into all these details, we have to face the big one. How are we even supposed to read this story? Is this a literal, historical account of the first two people on Earth, or is it something else?
So one popular way to look at it these days is to say, hey, maybe we're missing the point by arguing about whether it actually happened. In this view, the story is a powerful parable. It's not really about Adam and Eve way back when. It's about us right now. It's about our choices, our freedom, and the dangers that come with them. The story is a mirror.
But there's a really strong counterargument to that. Scholars like Lawrence point to the structure of the book of Genesis itself. It's organized into these 10 sections called a Toledoth, which basically means the history of or the generations of, and the other 9 are all presented as straightforward historical accounts. So does it really make sense from a literary perspective for the very first one, the one that sets the stage for everything, to suddenly be a symbolic story? He calls it a glaring incongruity. So look, whether you land on history, myth, parable, or something in between, one thing is undeniable. The ideas born in this chapter are completely woven into the DNA of Western thought.
I mean, the legacy of this one short chapter is just massive. The whole concept of original sin, which is foundational to so much theology. The corresponding need for redemption, ideas about gender and hierarchy that are still being debated today, and that endless tension between our free will and a higher authority. It all starts right here.
And in the end, that's really the profound and frankly unsettling question the story leaves us with. It suggests that the very things that make us great, our curiosity, our desire for knowledge, our freedom to choose, are also the very things that can lead to our downfall. It's a paradox that's just as real and challenging for us today as it was thousands of years ago.